Alright, so we have to talk about Superman Legacy because ever since Aquaman was the last chapter in the DCEU, we're heading into James Gunn's DC rebooted universe with a whole bunch of new characters coming, and even with some versions of characters that was all over on the DCEU that could be moving forward, but even as this is like a whole new slate with a bunch of characters coming, and even with Superman Legacy that kicks that off, and some people were getting concerned, and this will save the next chapter of DC movies as well. And that's what I'm doing for you guys in this video is breaking down everything that we know from the casting updates, and even if this will save the next chapter ever save a DC. And so if you're new, then be sure to subscribe, click that notification bell so it's on any future visits. So let's just hop into it. And now, as I mentioned, that with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, that was like the last movie, that was the last entry in the DCEU because of this reset, and even with the other films in the DCEU that have finished out, like with Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and even with this movie as well that were now well received, or even with these ones, people were just kind of skipping because even with these films that didn't matter because we're moving into a new phase of DC movies with James Gunn, and even with these characters that are not going anywhere, and even like I think like the next thing that's coming up in James Gunn's DC slate is Creature Commandos in 2024 of this year, and with the Superman Legacy that's coming out on July 11th of 2025, and even with this film, plus I'm very excited for it. I'm excited that we have a new Superman coming into the DCU with David Corns running the Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, but even with this movie, I think it's getting a lot of people concerned if James Gunn is going to save the next chapter of DC movies, and especially with the Superman Legacy that is his passion project. And now, even with everything that we know about the Superman Legacy, is that this is going to explore the early life of Clark Kent, and even as a James Gunn, like it explained it in a way that it'll explore the early days, the early phase of his life, and now we're gonna get a fresh new Clark Kent and like a brand new Superman, and even people that were saying that they should have recasted Cavill, or like because Henry Cavill was great as Superman, and even because with the DCEU that launched in 2013 with the Man of Steel, and it's completely went downhill from there when the DCU decided to get random, and even to replicate the success of the MCU and their success, and even that has made the DCU fail for all this time, and even with the DCU as starting out with the Superman Legacy, and even as we have new characters coming, I think this could be a win. Even ever since they announced the new Superman and Lois Lane back in summer of 2023, and now like as time went on, like they announced new members that will be joining Superman Legacy with Jimmy Olsen, Hawkgirl, and it was so many others. But now I want to talk about like the official casting update that we have for Superman Legacy, and that is we have a casting update of who will be Supergirl in James Gunn's DCU, and that it could possibly be like a potential cameo in Superman Legacy. I could set up like a Supergirl Women of Tomorrow, especially with these three actresses that have been screen tests for the role of Supergirl, and that is for Amelia Jones, Meg Denali, and Millie Alcock. And now especially with these three women that have auditioned for the role of Supergirl, and I think only one of them can get picked. But I think like Millie Alcock especially has a shot because I loved her performance in House of the Dragon. I think it should be awesome as Supergirl. But even with all the others, we'll just have to wait and see. But even with the direction of James Gunn's DCU, his next phase, I'm hoping it'll save the business, and hopefully it'll possibly save Warner Brothers, especially with the direction that this next phase of DC movies will go. And even ever since James Gunn announced his DCU slate with a bunch of new characters coming with these projects, I feel like people have been skipping these projects because with these characters that are not going anywhere, that are from the DCEU, and now that we're moving into new territory and into a new phase of DC movies with James Gunn, and plus I'm excited to see what this man has in store, what he's cooked up for his DC rebooted universe. And we had like all sorts of casting announcements, so especially with James Gunn, that has been like debunking rumors, especially with the things that are true and things that are not true, and just like clearing them up. Especially, I think he's been active over on Threads and like just like clear things up, especially like clearing up the confusion, well, the headlines of people that may be entering James Gunn's DCU. But even with the entire slate, I think it sounds very interesting, and plus with DC Elseworlds. But even with this new DC slate, I'm very excited for what's in store, and the fact that there's so many characters from so much source material that James Gunn is going to introduce them. I think it'll probably be great for a fresh start. And even with my opinion on James Gunn's DC slate, I think it's going to be amazing, but will this be concerning for people if these movies won't succeed, if they'll be a box office hit? But all these movies and projects need is just like a good story, a good writing, especially for a good script. But I think like, the future of DC movies will probably be alright, especially as the future of the new DC universe is super bright right now, especially for what James Gunn has in store. Plus, I think he's a great director. I love what he's done with Guardians, and I think he'll definitely crush it over there at DC, especially as he wants to adapt new characters. And plus, he's loved DC comics all of his life, especially with Superman. I think Superman Legacy will definitely be a hit if they can like do this right, and even for what we have in store, and I can't wait for it. Plus, further things I'm excited about for Superman Legacy, that this is going to introduce a new version of Superman. I think it's going to be like a young Superman, probably it is mid-20s and 30s, but even with the story, that sounds very interesting. And well, we're also going to see like a big setup for like a future DC characters down the road. And even with James Gunn, that he has given details about Superman Legacy, about what we can expect, like overall, like this is his passion project. And even for what we know is that this is gonna be like the first movie, the first phase in James Gunn's DCU. And I really hope that this movie succeeds and it exceeds everyone's expectations. Or like I think like this man is gonna do a great job, and I think I'm gonna have a great time, especially to watch Superman Legacy, especially day one on opening night, and it sounds like a very interesting setup. And also, another thing to consider is that if James Gunn's DCU is off to a bad start, but I think with Blue Beetle, I did kick off the new DC universe, the DCU, but that question was never sort of answered. But if Superman Legacy does not exceed everyone's expectations and is not received well by audiences and critics, and if it's not like a big box office hit, but I think we could definitely look forward to the future of DC, especially for what James Gunn has cooked up in store. I mean, I love his work, especially at Marvel and DC with the Suicide Squad, but I think he's going to do a great job at succeeding in his first film in his new universe. And so for my final thoughts, I just wanted to answer the question if Superman Legacy could possibly save the next chapter of DC movies. And plus, I'm excited for what James Gunn has in store, for what he has cooked up with the new characters that he's introducing, with all these new projects that we have now out in the open. And now that the next phase of DC movies is going to start with Superman Legacy, and with also with Creature Commandos, the TV show. But I think with the future of DC, it's going to look so bright right now. I think people are going to be very excited if it has like good writing and good storytelling. I think we're in good hands with the future of DC as well. And so that's going to be it for this video, and just let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, and what your thoughts on all this, and if you think like Superman Legacy is going to save the next chapter of DC movies and this new phase that we're heading into with James Gunn and his rebooted universe. And just let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on notifications about future videos, and also follow my social, which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.